I like to tell people you can't spend your way out of a bad mindset. You can't save your way out of a bad mindset, right? Neither of those paths are going to get you to the abundance that is really there for you.
Welcome back to Happiness in Progress. I'm your host, Danielle Craig. I'm an Emmy Award-winning journalist, a mom, wife, and you know what I like to say, just a person looking for more joy in the everyday. This podcast is brought to you by the Mail Tribune. You can find more podcasts at mailtribune.com. If you like listening, make sure to click subscribe. That helps me continue to do this work. You can click subscribe anywhere you're listening. All right, let's get to today's topic. We are talking about those holiday budgets or non-existent holiday budgets. You might be in that position. You're going to be hearing from Latasha Kinnard. She is the CEO of Goddess Day. She is also the #1 Amazon bestselling author of 20-Something and Rich. She started her career in corporate America managing $100 million budgets. And now she uses those skills she learned in corporate America to help her clients maximize their income and effectively build for the future. We're going to talk a little bit about that, building for the future, but we're also talking about spending money during the holidays and getting our budgets on track for the holidays. We talk about correcting our mindsets. A lot of us have some mindset work we need to do when it comes to money. We talk about a common question she gets, debt versus investing. She's going to address that. She's also going to address that feeling of lack and how that impacts the way that you see your finances and the world. We talk about so much stuff. This is one of my favorite conversations. You know, I always say that, but I loved it. So I hope that you love this conversation as much as I did. So let's get to it. Thank you so much, Latasha, for coming on the podcast.
It is my pleasure, Danielle. Thank you so much for having me.
So when we go into the holiday season, I'm wondering, as a financial expert, what are some of your first thoughts as you're looking at this holiday season? You know, people are spending money. What do you think?
I'm so glad you asked me that because I have a lot of feelings about holiday spending. My clients go throughout the whole year putting in so much work and effort to build up their financial foundation. And then they come to the holidays and it is really difficult to keep that same momentum going. And that's because if you think about it, I was just watching The Grinch Who Stole Christmas yesterday. And when I was a child, I don't think I got all of the consumerist references about buying. And you got this Cindy Lou Who over here who's trying to remind people about the reason for the season, which is like loving your neighbor and all this stuff. And that's kind of how I feel about Christmas. We get so bent out of shape about buying people gifts and having money and, showing our love through purchasing gifts when there are so many other ways that we can show love. Particularly right now, I have a client and, his emergency fund isn't where it's supposed to be or isn't where I would like to see it. Let me say it like that. But all he could think about is, I have to buy Christmas gifts. And you do no one any favors by diminishing your financial standing. You're going to do everybody in your life a favor by fortifying yourself financially. So some ideas that I like to share with people in terms of how can you still feel good about giving gifts for the holidays, even if it's not something that you went into a store to buy, is think about people's love languages. First of all, most people's love languages isn't even receiving gifts. My love language is quality time. Okay. So spend $20 and take me to the movies or Netflix and chill it, coronavirus times. Doing things, think about what the other person's love language is. It might be words of affirmation, in which case buy them a card and write something really heartfelt in it. Right. So if you're thinking about the other person's love language, you're going to find so many more opportunities to come up with creative gift ideas that are actually meaningful to the other person. And so don't use Christmas as an excuse to ball out of control, spending money that you don't have, putting money in the pockets of corporations who don't need it. So that's my long way of saying all of that.
I love it. So I think when I hear that, I think what needs to occur is a mindset shift, right? What is the mindset shift that we, as the consumer who is thinking like, I need to buy everything for my kids and my loved ones and my friends and all my coworkers and all the people I know, what is the mindset shift that needs to happen?
This is like, take note, guys. If you don't have the mindset of what Christmas is about, you really have to get how much we have been bombarded with messages of spending to override what Christmas is about,
Mm,
right? Like, yes, Christmas is about giving, but it has nothing to do with shopping. It has nothing to do with consumerism and that stuff. And so when you think about the mindset shift that has to occur, I say it's about, spending time with people that you care about, even if it's via Zoom right now,
hmm
you know, letting people know that you care about them. And then first and foremost, right? Like, the holidays are about doing things for people who can't do for themselves. So instead of spending all that money on people who already have so many things, what if we just channel just a fraction of that towards people who are really struggling right now, especially given the environmental climate that we're in? All right. So if we start thinking about Christmas as a time of year to like have experience, create some traditions, some fun traditions with your family, like there's so many ways to make the holidays a meaningful time of year. Um, so when you're thinking about how do I shift my mindset, it's the same way you shift your mindset with anything else. You tell yourself a new story. What do
mm.
you want? What values do you want to be instilling in your children right now? Do you want to instill in them the same spin, spin, spin mindset that was instilled into you? Or do you want to instill in them, let's really care for our fellow men? Like, let's care for the people around us. Let's use our resources to uplift other people. I think that's super important and meaningful right now.
I love that. I think you're absolutely right. And this year, especially, there's so many people hurting,
Mhm.
whether that's because they lost a job or just because of the sheer amount of awful things that have happened this year,
Such
from
sheer
people
amounts.
losing their homes. And I mean, it's been a hard year. So there's no shortage of people who need a little extra love this year. I love that.
Yeah.
What do you think is one of the biggest budgeting mistakes, like that tangible budgeting mistake that people are making this time of year?
This is so easy. People don't budget for the
They didn't
holidays.
even make a budget.
They don't even make a budget. First of all, people aren't making budgets on a regular basis. Let's
Yeah.
say if I look at the statistics, the most dire statistics say that only 30% of Americans keep a budget,
Mm,
right? And then if you look at the percent of people who actually keep a budget for Christmas, like that number is super, super small. So in terms of like, ways that you could budget for the holiday. I have something called the Holiday Spending Planner, and
mm,
it allows you to budget for October, November, and December. So in November, we got Black Friday, we got Cyber Monday, we got Small Business Saturday. And what I love about it is that you don't just get to spend, but you get to spend intentionally. When you have a budget, it puts some intention behind your spending, which is awesome because now you get to be in control of what you want that to look like, right? And it's not the marketer saying, hey, come buy this, come buy this. Hey, can I entice you to buy this? No, it's you being in the driver's seat of what you want and what you need. That's what a budget allows you to do. So in this holiday planner, you get to highlight, okay, this is what I need for Black Friday. This is what I need for Cyber Monday. So you're not just going on a shopping frenzy and you're getting something that you actually want or need. And then we have the Christmas list planner. Like, Santa has his list, you need your list.
you got to
If
check it
you are
twice too.
gonna, exactly. If you are going to be buying gifts, who are you going to be buying gifts for? What's the budget for each gift? And stick to the budget.
Mm,
And guess what? When we get into January, you can start saving $20 a month, $50 a month, every single month. If holiday spending is something that is really important to you and you just cannot give it up, you can budget for it. If you want to make charitable contributions during the holidays, you can budget for that too. So it just doesn't pop up out of nowhere. So whatever that holiday spending is like for you, put it in the budget. And that way, when October or November or December comes, you can start spending. I mean, you can start, getting the things that you want. And if you start in October, you can get a head start and, won't go crazy trying to get all these gifts before the holidays. So that's my advice. First of all, just have a budget.
And I think there have been times in my life where my holiday budget literally had to be like, I'm thinking about this from January to December. Like I'm going to save, maybe it was $20 every month to make sure, I could provide in the way that I wanted to on the holidays. It was like a year-long intentionality.
For many people, it has to be, or guess what? They go into credit card debt. This is the time of year where people take on major credit card debt because their mindset is, if I love them, I have to buy them a gift. So yeah, it's shifting that mindset.
That's what we have to shift. So I will just share one quick story and then I'll ask you the next question. When my husband and we had made a move and he didn't have a job and I had taken a pay cut and we were hardly making it at all. And we had a baby on the way. It was hard. And what we did was we wrote, I think, 10 best memories of the year. And we literally wrapped them and we put them under the tree. And on Christmas Day, we opened up our 10 best memories of the year. And it was really special. And it cost us nothing. It cost us maybe the wrapping paper, which was like, maybe $5.
First of all, I think I'm about to cry. That is so meaningful. And just like imagine the environment that it creates and the love that it creates and the connection and the memories. Like that's something that'll last a lifetime versus a candle from Bath and Body Works.
You're right. And when we look back at those, a couple of them were the same and they were really like lame moments. Like I like standing on the side of the road and seeing the U-Haul up. Like we both put this on our favorite memories. And not only did we spend $0 on it, it bonded us a little more. And it's still something we look back at and we're like, remember when we wrote those memories and they were the same and our love has increased and our budget was the exact same.
Well, I think about this, right? It costs no money, but it's so enriching, right?
Right.
So rich and meaningful. Like, yeah, I would love to see more of us take a page out of your book.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot coming from you and everything that you do. Okay, so what I want to ask is if someone's listening and they're having that regret because we already had Black Friday. There was a time last week during Black Friday and Cyber Sunday where I was like, or Cyber Monday and all the spending days, I was like, I have to spend off my phone. I have to turn off my phone because I feel like I need everything right now. So what do we do now? Maybe people are already in hundreds of dollars of debt. What happens next? How can we start redeeming this situation before it gets even more out of control?
Well, you can always return things. Don't be ashamed to return stuff because I'm going to tell you, the marketers were not ashamed to put it in front of your face, knowing that you probably couldn't afford it. So don't be scared to do that. But if you have all the, if you have these things, like I shopped plenty this year. If you have these things, right, and you want to make sure that you don't go into debt again, what you want to do is start, number one, shifting your mindset now. I don't like to try to force an action. That's just not my style. I'm not going to be like, no, I can't buy this. No, that's just not my style. Instead, I like to, change the conversations that I'm having with myself, share affirmations to get me more excited about a new direction, because I don't want to ever feel like I'm limiting myself or stunting myself. And so I might tell myself, there's more to the holidays than gifts. There's so much more for me to explore. I love creating new experiences with people that I care about during the holidays. Gifts are not the most important thing. There's so many other important things that I can focus on, right? And so I will know for real. I have a notebook, which I got from Dollar Tree, which could make a good gift for somebody.
And it's cute.
Super cute. And I just write that stuff down. And because what you want to do is think about, guilt and shame is not going to help you. It's just going to hurt you, right? It's going to make you want to avoid what is avoid what is there, avoid the behaviors that you have. And you cannot avoid yourself out of a behavior,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's just
Mm-hmm.
going to continue whether you like it or not. And so you just start telling yourself that new story and allow those actions to naturally change, right? Allow it to be a natural byproduct of these new thoughts that you have, that you've literally been feeding yourself. And so after you do that, then you want to just start to think about what is important to you. If you just say, I don't want to do this, it's not helpful. But if you say, I want to plan this, I want to build up my emergency fund, I want to be able to have, a financial foundation that allows me to have the life that I deserve. Well, now you start getting more excited about putting your money in a different direction. My mom told me the other day, she was like, you haven't really given gifts in like 7 years, right? That's a long time. I didn't give gifts because I couldn't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
Because my job, I want to be able to create generational wealth for my family.
Mm.
That's the biggest gift that I could give them, right? So being able to give them a gift on Christmas means nothing to me because I love them so much and everybody knows it. So
Mm-hmm.
what's way more important is that I be able to create a space of generational wealth so that nobody in my family has to worry about money again. And now that I'm on track for that, guess what? They got gifts this year.
I love that. I love part of that is what we do today does not necessarily determine like what we're going to do the next Christmas or the next Christmas. So you were able to take that space of, I'm going to sit this Christmas out with the gifts for all of the people
Mhm.
and then when it is more accessible and I'm on the way to my goals, that's when that's when I can do it. I love that.
Yeah. And it's so different now because I give a gift because I'm like, oh, I see this thing that my mom would love, not
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like I have to give a gift. And it feels so different now. And I really love that feeling of like, there is no pressure
Mm-hmm.
to conform to what everybody else is doing. There really is just love and care and consideration.
Mm-hmm. The other thing you said is that I think is really important is there doesn't need to be a shame about it because not a one of us learned this in school. None of us sat in high school learning algebra and then learned how to budget. Not one of us. We just didn't.
We're just winging it out here for real. Like,
So if you were to give people who haven't learned these skills, haven't, invested their time into it like you have, what would be the crash course? What are some of the first, habits or changes you would tell them to start making?
okay, so it's a really good point that you make. We're just kind of thrown out of the nest, right? And you're like, could you be an adult, please? Like, figure this out. And nobody taught us how to do it. So, one of the things I want you to start with is to really think about your relationship with money and where did it come from. One of the things my clients do is think about their first magnetic money memory. And
Mm,
that's just like this money memory that is so emotionally charged for you. My magnetic money memory, I remember I was really young and me and my mom and my sister were going to the store and I was just happy to be out of the house. The sun was shining and I'm just skipping along, not a care in the world. And really, like, I could feel my heart was so glad to just be with my mom and my sister. I
mm,
was so happy to be out and about with them. And so we get to the door and of the store. My mom, like, she kind of comes down to our level and she looks us in the eye and she says, listen, don't touch nothing. Don't look at nothing because you can't get nothing. And, this is standard Black mom talk. And
mhm,
it gutted me.
mm,
Like, I felt my whole energy change. Like, my heart dropped into my stomach. And I wasn't even thinking about getting anything, but it was just this idea that, just put me on notice. Like, don't even think that you could even imagine getting something.
mm,
And that really shifted how I walked into stores for the rest of my life. I walked into stores from that moment thinking that I can't get anything, no matter how much money I had. And even right now, I'm getting emotional about it. And I'm thinking about how many of us have those experiences and those times, but we don't think about them and we don't realize how much they impact us going
Mm-hmm.
forward. So this is not just some woo-woo exercise. This is like really get up close and personal with the things that are driving your financial decisions and you don't even know it. So when I
Mm-hmm.
have that feeling, even though I might be making more money than I've ever made in my life, but I walk in the store and I have this feeling of, I can't buy anything. I shouldn't buy anything. That's where it comes from. And you might hear that and think like, oh, well, that's good. Not buying anything is good. But having a lack mentality, right? That's not good. So you want to be able to, see where those ideas are coming from and start there and say, okay, what do I want to change about my relationship with money? So any type of crash course that we have, it has to start with, what is your relationship with money and what type of cycles is it producing in your life, right? Because this is not a one size fits all strategy. So when we start there, now we can start to look at some of the basics. And the basics are, everybody should have that emergency fund 3 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you this, but I'm serious. And I'm telling you this, but people don't listen. How do I know people don't listen? Because we got into a pandemic and everyday people didn't have an emergency fund. I mean, pandemic kicked off, jobs closed, and within 2 weeks, people were like struggling, hungry,
Mm-hmm.
having to stand in food lines, right? So that's how I know. Landlords went crazy because they didn't have an emergency fund. They couldn't pay their mortgages when their tenants stopped paying them for 2 weeks. Okay, this was no 6 months, right? Corporations went crazy. They were like, oh my God, operations shut down. What the heck are we going to do in 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm like, where is this 6 month emergency fund we've been talking about forever? This is serious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, have that emergency fund, start saving and start saving for specific things and have them in a separate account. You want a new car? Have an account for that. You want an investment property? Have an account for that. Whatever it is that you want to start saving for, start now, even if it's a little bit, $5 towards each category. And it doesn't matter how small it is. What matters is that you're building up specific habits and that there's an intention behind it. You know exactly what you want to be using that money for. I'm going to tell you this secret. Saving is the most underrated way to build wealth, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not the thing that's going to get you there. It's the building of the habits, but also when things come up, right? Like Christmas, when things come up, like, a tire, you need a new tire. You don't have to go into debt. You don't have to dip into your investments. You just dip into your savings, which that's what they're there for. And that allows your wealth to continue to grow. The investments continue to grow. The emergency fund is still there. So now that you have those savings, what do you want to look at next? You want to start paying off your debt and you also want to invest. People get so like, Danielle, I can't tell you how much people stress out about their debt. And they always ask me this question, should I pay off my debt first or should I start investing? And my answer is that this is not a stair step approach. This is a juggling thing. You don't just do one thing at a time and then move to the next, and then one thing at a time and then move to the next. You get 2 to 3 balls in the air and you juggle them if you can. So debt is about the past. You made some decisions and now you're paying for it. Your investments are about your future. And those things need to be happening in tandem. You cannot focus on debt and neglect your future. You can't focus on your future and neglect your debt because it's going to come back to bite you in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
So, managing those things. And then you want to start thinking about, more assets and insurance and things like that. But I would say, that basic framework, emergency funds, savings accounts, paying off debt and investing is going to be a great wireframe to get you started.
Okay, I want to go back quickly to that mentality of lack and fixing our relationship, because what I've noticed is, me and my husband, we never worked on our relationship with finances or with money, and we had mindsets from our childhoods. And no matter how much money we were making, we were still living in the same mindset that we had. So our budget, it went up and down and has throughout the time, but our mindset didn't change. And so our spending habits, fluctuated as they needed to keep us in the same spot that we'd always been in. I hope that
Yeah.
I'm explaining this correctly. So tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about why it is so important to address that mindset, to figure that out so that we can move forward.
Yeah, so that what you're describing, that ebbing and flowing, and no matter how much you're having, you're kind of spending however much you can, but you're staying in the same spot. I call that your financial set point.
Mm,
And it doesn't matter how much money you have, that financial set point stays the same unless you intentionally move the needle, right? And it takes some work to move the needle because you have this you're only going to have as much or as little as your mindset will allow. Your mindset creates a context that is decisive, right?
mm,
There is no context other than the one that is set right here. And whatever context your mind sets, it will work to maintain. Right. So it's like this GPS, right? You put a destination into the GPS, that's your set point. And if you deviate from that, guess what it's going to do? Recalculate you
mhm,
right
mhm.
back to going towards the set point. You might create a dope budget, and then you deviate for a while and you start doing better, but you're going to come back. You might have a rough spot. You lost your job. Might deviate for a while, but it's going to come back. And what you want to do is intentionally program yourself. This is why affirmations are important. My background is in psychology, education, and neuroscience, right? So all of the methodologies that I use are rooted in behavioral changes, right? Helping people to create behavior changes. But also because my background is in psychology, I really understand that it's very difficult to get people to change their behavior.
Mhm.
So my work, my company focuses on financial systems for that reason. I really need to bypass you to help you be more successful. But if you are somebody like me and like Danielle, and you want to be able to do the real inner work that comes with shifting your mindset, that is how you do it. You get you a little notebook. This is the one that I create for my clients. It's called Goddess Notes. And it has little quotes at the top. Nothing needs to be fixed. It's all part of your journey. It takes a goddess to create from within. Unleash the creator inside of you. And I want to put you intentionally in the driver's seat and saying, like, there's something at stake for you here. Right. And when you start to look at the relationship that you have with money and the cycles that it's put you through, you have to say, okay, enough is enough. People go their entire lifetimes experiencing these same financial cycles and the same financial set point year and year and year after year.
Mhm.
And there is no magic bullet for, making it go away. It really is, what is the story that you're going to tell yourself? That is the thing that is going to shift your financial set point. And that's where I am right now, right? I have my company, and my company is helping people with their finances, but I also have my own financial story, and I have had to do the work of increasing my financial set point. And I can tell you, the other day I was just like, you have that feeling like things are just going too good. Things are just like, this is too good to be true. And I can feel, I'm like, okay, I need to expand my set point. Right? I can feel it. I need to expand my worthiness. So just know, like, you're worthy of having the things that you want, and you have to tell yourself a story that matches that. And magically, your financial set point will expand. There isn't like you don't have to look at your budget every day. You don't have to like crunch numbers every day. You don't have to open Excel or go on mint.com. You just have to tell yourself a new story.
Mhm. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it because our changing point, the thing that helped us change our set point was the permission to do so from somebody else. And it was like almost like our eyes were like, "Oh, you're right." And that's it. So you just granted that permission, and I love that. I hope that people listening can go back to listen to a couple things that I want to delve more into, but we're running at the end of this. Just the creating that generational wealth. When you were talking about that, that gets me fired up to do that. I think that's incredible. So I hope that if you were listening and you went past that, go back and listen to it again. The last thing, I'm going to ask you two more questions. Daily habits. If there was something that you would tell people to do every day to get themselves in that place where they are creating generational wealth and they're not spending it on stuff that's going to go under the Christmas tree and be forgotten in the next 2 weeks? What are those habits?
I'm going to keep this one simple. The daily habit that I recommend to help you create generational wealth is to pick up your phone, open your bank app, and look at the balance every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, you just look at the balance, and it is going to motivate you to do something, right? You look at that balance and it's not where you want it to be, you're gonna walk into Starbucks differently. I guarantee you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're like, actually, I don't even have time for Starbucks. I need to go home and think of some ideas of how I'm gonna have more money in this bank account, right? And then if you notice that the number in that bank account is like really comfortable, then you also going to make some different decisions. You're like, I want to stay this way, right? Because one of the things, I have basically been a financial coach since I was 10 years old, right? Or I've been like infatuated with money management since I was 10 years old and have been managing everyone around me with how to handle their money. And one of the things I learned at 10 years old, I also used to keep a notebook like this. And at the top of every page, I would start off with how much money I had for that day, right?
Mm-hmm.
I might have had $1, and then I might have found 25 cents